This is your tech news briefing for Monday, August 8th. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. Social media is the place people go to express their feelings, connect with friends, and exchange ideas with strangers. But when your posts are monitored by authorities or censored, it can be hard to be open and can even present a risk to your safety. That's the situation some people in China are finding themselves in, as new rules take effect on social media platforms there. And some are choosing to leave platforms where they don't feel safe and trying to rebuild their cyber lives on other sites. Joining us to discuss this is our China tech reporter, Shen Lu. Hi, Shen Lu. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, can you start by painting a picture of what the social media landscape in China is like right now and how it's changed?
It's still vibrant, but the main town square-like social media platform, Weibo, which is better known in the West than other social media platforms, is saturated with nationalistic voices and official narratives because of a step up in censorship over the past few years. And it's very different from, say, 10 years ago when Weibo became a phenomenon in China and in the world even. People thought that China was moving toward a more democratic society because people had this social media platform and were able to voice their opinions and were able to have lively debates. But then that changed maybe about 5-8 years ago. Platforms like Weibo have stepped up censorship, and people feel like the space for free speech has been shrinking over the past few years.
I want to talk about why this shift in Chinese social media landscape is taking place. What's behind the new rules and restrictions? Are they coming from the government, or are these platforms self-regulating?
So, at the end of June, China's cyberspace watchdog came down with new rules that require all the Chinese social media platforms to display user IP locations online and then require them to verify users' identities. But this came 2 months late after Weibo and another town square-like social media platform, Douban, announced the rules. So we don't know if 2 months ago Chinese social media platforms decided to do it themselves or ahead of the new rules, or they had already had an agreement with the Chinese Cyberspace Administration to initiate the new requirements before the rules actually got passed.
Have we heard from the government or from either of these major platforms about what's going on?
No, neither the Chinese government nor the companies responded to our requests for comment.
Okay, so that's the situation with the companies. I want to talk a bit about the individuals who are using these platforms and what it's been like for them. What would cause them to switch to another social media platform? You know, of the people you spoke to, what did they tell you about their experience on these platforms?
Yeah, so it's not just a one-off deletion of a post or a deletion of an account. It's, many of them have experienced a series of account deletions over the past few years and not letting alone posts. So increasingly they find that on their timeline, their neighbors and their friends started to talk less and less or stop talking because of the invasive censorship. So it's not fun to stay on those platforms anymore if your friends and you yourself are afraid of speaking out or are just annoyed that the fact that whatever you say might trigger censorship. Sometimes it's casual banter talk. It's not even like touching anything political. So that's the main reason why they would switch to a foreign platform. But the latest rules that display users' IP locations and require them to verify their identity seem to be a last straw for some of the people that I talked to for the story. And it's not easy for them to abandon their online homeland and online identity that they have, built and maintained for the past 10 years. So for many people, it's kind of traumatic that they can't stay on that platform anymore. And then the platform is not the same Weibo or same Douban that inspired them to participate in public engagement 10 years ago.
So you found that a lot of people are switching over to Mastodon. For those of us who are not familiar with Mastodon, can you tell us a little bit about what it's like and how many Chinese users are switching over to it?
So it's a social network and it has similar features to Twitter where it's a microblogging network. So anyone using Mastodon's open source software could build their own network. They just need to buy server storage. So many people have started their own social networks on Mastodon, placing their servers outside of China. And overall, this place hosts about 150,000 Chinese-speaking users currently.
What does all of this tell us about the Chinese social media landscape going forward?
So many of the Chinese social media users who move to Mastodon think that the censorship is only going to be rising in the future, and the erosion of free speech is only going to continue on Chinese social media. And then a lot of who have moved to Mastodon think that it's not fun to be on those mainstream Chinese social media anymore. There's a lot of harassment going on, and nationalism is on steroids. And they just want a place to speak freely, not just about, political issues, but also to express themselves and to, exchange ideas and share their hobbies with friends without having to worry being censored or harassed.
I'm curious if we'll see any more crackdowns or more restrictions from the government, though, or if, the government will look at this shift and maybe say, we need to do something about Mastodon as well.
So they're already doing that. Some of the popular Mastodon networks where Chinese internet users speak, China has already blocked those sites. And, some of the less known, sort of under the radar social networks before also got blocked in June when Chinese censors found people started to moving to those places. So it's a sign that Mastodon is already on the radar of Chinese censors.
All right, that's our reporter, Shen Lu. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Zoe, for having me.
And that's it for today's Tech News Briefing. If you want more tech stories, check out our website, WSJ.com. And if you like our show, please rate and review it. You can do that wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Zoe Thomas for The Wall Street Journal. Thanks for listening.